Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Counselor's Office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, and we are here with another Reacts, but this time I'm actually going to react to an actual Destiny 2 creator. It's easy for me to give my own opinions about Destiny, my own criticisms, but here we're going to watch a video called The Truth About Destiny 2 and Bungie by GrenadierJake. Now, whether you like him or hate him, it's a mixed bag. I personally don't have a general opinion, but I am always interested in hearing other people's opinions about Destiny 2 who actually partake in the game and aren't going to sit there and just throw insults, which happens in the Destiny 2 community. Insults is our go-to way, I guess, to handle situations we disagree with.
That is, there are a lot of opinions right now about Destiny, about Bungie,
yes,
and I feel like this is maybe the least united I've ever felt the Destiny community be. I'm
gonna have to disagree. I think we're forgetting year one of Destiny 2. Yeah, it had a lot of mixed bags. A lot of people did not like it, and in fact, the community left because of it. But there were some people that were like, we love this for some reason. And just the way people thought about Bungie then is almost, you could say maybe it's the same as now, but we've given more slack. And so the people's opinions of Bungie currently are about the same, but they have let the community down. And I think that's the opinion that most people have, is that Bungie needs to do or be better. Whether you love them or you hate them, we can all agree that Bungie needs to do better.
Destiny community since day one of Destiny launch, September 9th, 2014. I've been through every single phase of the game, all the goods, all the bads.
The only thing is I didn't do videos back then. I was just a straight gamer. Like, I didn't care about watching it. I never even bothered to watch YouTube back then, or for like Destiny content. I was just in it.
I'm not sure
I was in it.
This
nostalgia
with the entire community. So let's talk for a bit about a whole lot of different things, and just maybe at the end of this all, we'll feel
I have
a
that
little
spinner.
bit more united. Maybe I'm crazy. Let's see. So
I know this has nothing to do with video, and I'm pausing a lot. I actually have that spinner, the exact spinner that he has in his room. It's on the far right corner, and I have that for my students to choose to speak, who's going to speak during like a discussion. Like, okay, kids, hey, number 2, that's you. Let's answer this question. Sometimes I play games with it too, but
first thing I want to say, which is going to turn a lot of heads, and probably people are going to think I'm crazy for even suggesting this.
Throw it on us.
You'll understand by the end of the little rant. The first thing I want to say is that Destiny is still, and actually is even more so, a great game. It's even better than it used to be. What? And that's what's going to turn heads.
No. He's absolutely right. If you play Destiny 1, there was a lot that Destiny 1 sucked. Like, even the story itself wasn't very coherent. It was all over the place. At least Destiny 2 story was very consistent, whether you liked it or not. At least the story is consistent. And also, in general, we have more guns and gameplay, like things to do.
People are going to be like, are you kidding me? But let's talk about, like, what is Destiny?
Yeah, throw it at us.
It is a looter shooter PvE PvP combination where you can play different activities, take the armor or the weapons that you earn from different activities, bring them into other activities, and even more so than that, you can use fragments through different subclasses, different characters, combined with different armor perks, combined with different weapon perks, combined with different artifact perks, to have quite literally an endless combination of possibilities.
I think he's about 45% correct. The other 55% is the fact that if you go to Google or YouTube or Google, you're gonna see a bunch of the same things. You're gonna see what's meta solar build, and it's literally the same thing with a slight tweak to the fragments or just one little mod separation. But for the most part, builds in Destiny 2 are watered down and they're incredibly boring. Look at games like Warframe, and I'm going to use Warframe probably a lot because Warframe is just like Destiny in regard that you can choose your perks, so it's mods. You can modify your guns and your characters in the way you want, but the modifications and everything else is significantly better in Warframe. Diablo 4 gets aspects, whether you like Diablo 4 or not, but it gets legendary aspects for builds every season, and Destiny can barely get one every few years. So the combinations are not unlimited. They're limit. There's a limit to them, and some of them literally are about the same. Yes, you can change a tweak by an exotic. You can add a weapon, but at the end of the day, it's not as comprehensive as we like to put on the lens and think, wow, Destiny has a lot going on for it. When really, it really doesn't compared to other games. It's very watered down, and it's meant that way so casuals can get into it. And that's the biggest issue, is that Destiny's become more casual. And I'm not trying to put elite hat on here. I'm just being honest. If this was more complex, like Warframe, there's people who are casual that play Warframe, and it has a worse system because they don't even explain the mods at all. Warframe. If you've ever played Warframe, one of the sins of Warframe is that it does such a bad job at explaining the mods. I don't know if that's improved recently in the past years, but my God, but it's more complex than with Destiny's setup.
And that's not even the best part about Destiny. The best part about Destiny is the gunplay. I mean, go play other shooters out there. For whatever reason, Destiny has absolutely killed it. And Bungie's always killed it with how gunplay feels.
I mean, even from Halo, the gunplay has been amazing.
People have the false narrative of saying that Destiny is a terrible game. It's not. It's fantastic. But for a second, let's talk about maybe why it feels terrible to so many people. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it feels a little bad to me too. But that's not on Bungie. We're gonna get to Bungie in a bit and all the things.
I'm gonna preemptively say I don't agree with him. I don't know what he's gonna say, but I'm gonna tell you, the fact that you're saying it's not on Bungie, you're wrong.
I think
let's see here why
incorrectly, but for now we're going to focus on something different. For now, let's focus on us, the community. Bungie isn't doing anything wrong here. It's our expectations that are current.
Did I hear that right? Back it up. I'm sorry, what?
The community. Bungie isn't doing anything wrong here. It's our expectations that are currently incorrect.
Okay, I just want to make sure I heard that. Bungie's not in the wrong here. It's our expectation. He's 100% wrong here. Okay, no, not 100%. He's about 90% wrong, 10%. Whatever he's going to say. 90% he's wrong specifically, and this is why it's specifically. Bungie often sets the tone of expectations. And I'll give you a perfect example. Remember at the end of Season of the Witch, if you played. If you didn't, I'm going to let you know. Bungie amped up. People were like, what about Stasis? Strand is so much better than Stasis. Why use Stasis? And Bungie's like, hey, we're going to really put some attention. And they made it sound like that we're going to put some focus onto Stasis. And the focus on Stasis was a little kind of buffs here or there. A couple, like 1 or 2 artifacts. But what is it that people are playing this season, which was supposed to be focused on Stasis? That's what we assumed based on what they told us and what they presented us to set our expectations. Did we expect Solar to be the main dominance in this season of the Wish? Absolutely not. Do we expect to have Dragon's Breath as the focus of the battle pass instead of a stasis weapon? Absolutely not. Bungie is the one that sets these expectations majority of the time, right? They look at Lightfall. How hyped up did Bungie set the bar for Lightfall? Granted, 10% was us. Definitely. Because we had faith and we looked at Witch Queen. You're like, wow, we've given feedback. We love Witch Queen. Witch Queen's fantastic. Bungie says, hey, we hear you. And then they hype up the Lightfall. And then you find out it's a pile of turds that no one asked for. Even the most lore masters of masters out there saying, what is this garbage? So don't tell me it's the community's fault when it is Bungie who's curating these expectations.
Imagine you have a favorite food, a favorite restaurant even, and you go to that restaurant and order the same thing every single meal. Not even every day, just every meal. You love it at the beginning. You like it. By week 2, you're okay with it by week 3. By week 4, you probably can't stand this anymore. Now, you wouldn't go to the manager and get mad at them that meal you've ordered 30 times, 90 times, whatever by now, isn't appealing the way it used to be.
I think this is unintentionally. I'm not thinking it's intentional. I think it's unintentionally insincere, because there's a fallacy here. The fallacy is, one, you are ordering the same thing. Yes, and for instance, he's right in the instance that seasons have essentially become the same thing. But what he's not telling you is that the community has complained for years that we do not want this, and Bungie has said, we hear you. It's almost like telling the waiter, hey, instead of having just the chicken parmesan, I want some shrimp in there now too. And then they say, okay, we got this. And they come out, and what do they give you? Chicken parmesan without the shrimp. That's Bungie. Bungie is the chef who chooses to ignore what the consumers are wanting and put out what they want to put out. Shut up and eat your meal. That's exactly what it is. So it's not necessarily, and I think Season of the Wish is the perfect example. Who in their goddamn right mind said, you know what? I really want a season where we do Ascendant challenges, blind well, everything people either got for free already or have paid for in the Forsaken Pass. You know what? No one ordered that. But Bungie, the chef, decided this is what you're going to eat. Consume it. So it's not the fact that people are getting tired of the same thing. People are getting tired of being force-fed things that they did not ask for, that they have vocally told the waiter to tell the chef, I do not like this. And what's worse, basing off my analogy of Season of the Wish, Season of the reused assets, it's like ordering the chicken parmesan. If we're going to play by his example, I love the chicken parmesan, and I order the chicken parmesan all the time when I come to this restaurant, and I'm excited for it, even though it is maybe starting to get a little, tiresome. Give him the benefit of the doubt in this example. But I order it anyways because it's old reliable, it's old faithful, it's something that I know is consistent. But then I get this plate, and it is old noodles or half-eaten chicken. That's what Bungie does. Instead of being consistent, every season there is something that they cut corners on, and they give you reused garbage. And this season is the most egregious we've ever seen. So no, it's not just ordering the same thing, because ordering the same thing means we're getting the same exact expectations. We're getting the exact same thing as last season. There is no change. There's no disappointment in the sense that I'm getting less quality. And this season, we've gotten less quality. Yes, the coil is probably the best thing that we've had in a long time, and I said that in my review of it. But the missions, you literally go to Mara's throne and you click a button on her empty seat, and that's supposed to be fun. I'm getting half-eaten noodles when I used to get the full fresh thing. No, it is not a consumer problem. It is the one providing the content. The chef is the one deciding what's coming out. So I think it's unintentionally insincere to make this comparison, because people are expecting, even if we're expecting the same thing, we are not even getting the same thing. The dish has been altered. It's cheaper. It's reused food from someone else's plate. Get out of here. Let's not try to defend Bungie. Let's call it as it is.
Same kind of system here with Bungie. I genuinely believe that 9.5 years after the launch of Destiny 1, the majority of the frustration related to Destiny 2 just comes from overplaying it. So many people in my Twitch chat will come in,
and I agree, some of it does come from that.
Talk about how much they miss the game and how much they love it now that they're...
I've taken several months off. I do not miss it because I know, and that's the funny thing, I know to taking a break, I'm going to come back to reuse assets. Nothing is going to be changed. Nothing's going to improve. And I think that's the fallacy with this argument too, is if you take a break, what? Things are just going to magically change? The issues you have with the game is suddenly going to be magically different. Now, granted, if you are struggling in PvP like he is, you might get some changes here on March 5th when they revamp the Crucible, and that might be what brings you back. But if you're a PvE kind of guy, mostly, then I can tell you nothing's gonna change this season.
Back. I've even taken a big break from Destiny and come back to it multiple times throughout my career. And when I come
Fantasy
back to
VII break right here.
Fresh, and it feels incredible. This is gonna hurt my viewership on YouTube. It's gonna hurt my viewership.
Yeah, because it's your job.
I don't care. If you feel this way about Destiny, you feel tired of it, bored of it, frustrated by it, stop playing until final shape. Go.
And I would even throw, he's right, 100%. For your mental health, as someone who works in psychology and in the mental health sphere, I mean, I'm a trained therapist, not licensed. There's a difference. Licensed means I legally can do it. Trained means I've got the education that I can do it. But then if I try to charge you, I will go to jail and lose any chance of getting a license. So no, I will never give free therapy. Sorry, no free therapy. He's 100% true. You need to think about your health. Don't play things that make you angry. And if Destiny is one of those things that make you angry, get off of it.
Play a different game, take a break from gaming, do something.
But my recommendation, if you think the season is not good, like I do, and you have your doubts of Bungie, don't even buy Final Shape. I think waiting for it is such an illogical statement to make. Don't even buy it. Wait, let other people play it, and then if you want to come back for the Final Shape, then come back after you've seen it. But don't just wait thinking, you know what, I'm going to come back Final Shape. No, wait. If you have your doubts, wait until it's been out, see what people think, then make your purchase.
Else, this game that you once loved probably still feels just as good to you if you just took a break from it and took a step away from it. You come back to it a few months
again, that's
later,
not necessarily true if you have issues that have not been resolved with the game.
Because this game, the gunplay, the ability.
Again, he's not wrong. The gameplay is fantastic, but the problem with Destiny that a lot of people in the community have, and I will say it for myself as well, is that the game is fantastic, but the content sucks. Like the content we've been getting, and you can't be like, we've got so much, but like every season has been pulled out. The coal's fantastic, but let's say the Vault of Glass. When's the last time we've had a reason to go to the Vault of Glass? Maybe if they actually let us, enhance adepts from it, they made that an option, people would go back. Guard of Salvation, they're now craftable weapons. I think Vogue, yeah, Vogue was craftable weapons too. Like, I'm just saying, there's no real reason why they can't do refreshes that are actually important. Like, no one cares about Blindwell, but I still appreciate that at least they did a refresh, because those who do care will 100% go for it. At least that's something to go back for. Now, also adding new modifiers, making tweaks, this is something that they could do. They could do more with content that already exists, but they choose to ignore and forget that even is in the game. And that's a Bungie issue and not a consumer issue.
The endless possibilities, the ridiculous number of activities to do. It's still phenomenal. We're just a little bored of it. And realistically, it's more than just being bored of it. It's also very directly related to the community. And what I mean by that is the community not only drives PvP, but also, if we have a bunch of friends who are playing Destiny, it's going to be more enjoyable to be.
I think he's right, but he's also coming from a perspective of community of himself. As a streamer, he is always surrounded by people in his chat. I don't think he's really thinking about the solo player. There's a lot of people who play solo. I have a clan, but I still prefer to play solo. I prefer to do ESL LFG, but I usually play by myself. I'm not talking to someone else. I'm grinding by myself. And I think that's something that he is neglecting in here, is a lot of the community just doesn't interact with other parts of the community.
Be playing Destiny when you've got a big group of people texting each other, Discord pinging each other about the raid.
That doesn't happen as much as he
about doing night.
Does that happen? Absolutely, but it's not in the grander scale that he thinks it is. Again, there's a large part of the community that does things solo who doesn't do this.
Falls, it's gonna get you more excited too. This isn't even a Bungie fault.
Again, expectations made by Bungie, and if they set expectations that fail to meet the community community is reaching out and saying, hey, we like this, we don't like this, and they acknowledge it, which sometimes they don't, sometimes they do, but no matter what, they just seem to ignore it. And so the community gets upset. So it is Bungie's fault.
We're going to get to Bungie stuff soon. But again, this is just a natural 9.5 years after Destiny comes out, 6.5 years after Destiny 2 comes out, people are going to leave the game. People are going to leave.
Yeah, that's absolutely going to happen.
Doing so, your friend group that plays.
Yeah, but here's a good comparison. Look at the amount of people who left during Witch Queen versus Lightfall. There is a dramatic exodus from Destiny based on setting expectations and giving worse quality versus setting expectations and meeting a good bar. People are excited about Witch Queen. They're happy about it. And the content, you can look at two different instances and see what happens when you push out garbage. You're going to get less players to play. So he's right, but he's also just not incorporating the fact that Bungie is curating a lot of this in the back.
They're probably going to not play as much. And also the PvP community, what once was a pretty populated player base, allowing for quick matchmaking, little lag, way less sweaty matches that probably bother you. There's going to be way more lag, way longer matchmaking, way more sweaty matches. So that's going to make the game feel worse too.
Yes,
so
less player. Again, less players being pushed out because Bungie has set expectations that have not been met. We hear you. And we did not tell them to abandon PvP, right? They chose to ignore PvP for so long. It is only after all these people have left that they've now decided to revert back to, oh, we've got to do something. Why is it just now when they lose so many people who get fired and they're losing money that they decide to make an actual PvP team? Exactly.
Boredom, but also just the community slowly but surely sort of bleeding away, leaving it less,
which will naturally happen.
Less of a strong community.
Naturally, people will leave.
But it's still a pain point and a point that frustrates people. And I think that they unfairly talk about how horrible Destiny is just because of the
I agree, that happens.
Pain point that is the decrease.
I think when I hear someone talk about it, I'm like, you're talking about Bungie though, right? You're not necessarily talking about the game, because the game itself is good. It's the people that are making the content in the game or choosing the fate of the game. Like, I give all the shade to Bungie specifically.
Player population and the decreasing community as a result. Now let's talk about Bungie real quick and a couple of ways that I think they are sort of fueling all this and making things worse than they need to be. One of those ways is that they sort of prey on the nostalgia that we have for Destiny and the emotion.
Okay, that's a different argument.
All these, whether you've been playing for 3 years, 6 years, 9 years, whatever. Our emotions from playing for so long and being a part of a community for so long. I don't know how many different times in trailers, in interviews or whatnot, you have people on the mic telling us, who we are so excited and so thirsty for new content, telling us that the better days are ahead.
They're also the ones saying the expectations of the content. This is the best content we've ever seen. I'm so hyped for you guys to play this. This is gonna be the story is fantastic. And let's be honest, Bungie is the one setting us up with these expectations. Again, perfect examples of how Bungie is the one setting expectations for the community, and the community ride that expectations and then gets burned. And then that's what happens with a negative community sentiment. It all feeds in a loop.
Best Destiny is still to come. This feels a little bit predatory to me, and it also leads to some false hope that, oh my God,
Destiny community is all known for hope. Listen, I am the first one to admit I've ridden hope a lot for Destiny in general. From the launch of Destiny 2 year one, I rode the copium hope train that Destiny would get itself together. And then Forsaken came out and I was like, all is saved. And then we started going down this after they left Activision, it just started going downhill. Everything just went whoop, 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 whoop. And then we got Lightfall. Like, Witch Queen got me back up with the hope. Like, oh my God, they're back. This is it. Lightfall looks like to be a banger. And then I opened my eyes that Bungie is not the Bungie we knew anymore. This is not the Bungie from Destiny 1. This isn't the Bungie of Forsaken. This is, I want your money. Shut up. Look at my shopping mall that is in the game.
our elevated expectations, we turn towards them in anger and frustration. Bungie doesn't.
I mean, it's rightly so.
But chat, YouTube, friends, Destiny's never gonna be as fun for you as it used to be. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Maybe 1 out of 100 of you are gonna actually have this not be the case, and somehow, some way,
I don't know how I feel about this statement
than you've ever had in Destiny. But the best Destiny days are behind us.
I don't know how I feel about that, because he's right. For like Destiny 1, we have like this nostalgia berries for Destiny 1, and we're like, man, because like when I think about Destiny 1 PvP, I think of like the boxes going up again, sharing boxes and everyone getting it, and then you die, you lose it. And I was like, man, why don't we just go back to that PvP? But then if I really think about that PvP had a lot of issues. There was a lot of issues in PvP. And so it's like, it's easy to put on the glasses and think things will be better if we just go back. And the reality is it's better to go forward. But I had a lot of fun with the coil, which is new content. But the problem is Bungie used the rest of the season to reuse assets. And it's that negative impact. If, like, for instance, Halo 5. I hate Halo 5 with a burning passion. It had great PvP. Like, the multiplayer was great. But the story butchered everything I loved about Halo. It was a god-awful abomination. And it was because of that anger and frustration that I didn't even bother play the multiplayer, even though I had no issues with the multiplayer. I just, except for like the pay-to-win loot boxes and whatever, all that trash of Warzone was. But outside of the base multiplayer, it was fantastic. It was really fun. But I couldn't play it because of the anger I had with the overall issue of the story. And that's what happens in Destiny. You do something that you mess it up, you can't enjoy everything because you're still frustrated. And that's what is happening with the coil. Like, the coil is fantastic, but everything else about the season is so god-awful. I don't even want to play Destiny because it's so god-awful.
Gameplay-wise, necessarily, I believe that they continue to make little quality of life updates here and there. And the game actually, probably gameplay-wise, is improving as we go. But something that's unstoppable,
gameplay is improving. Reuse assets not.
Is the newness factor and the nostalgia factor. We look back to 9 years ago or whenever it was you started playing, and they feel like the good old days. All your friends were playing, the community was playing, the game was fresh. You'd never tried a shooter like this where you could get stuff from PvE or PvP and apply them to different builds and use them in different places and grind for specific roles and specific weapons you haven't gotten, or perfect armor builds or whatever. It was exciting to you, and that excitement was part of what made Destiny so good.
I'll be honest, I did a video about Cruz, the 4-time world's first raider getting banned, and I copied the same thing as him, and I had to replay the opening mission to make a new account for Destiny just so I didn't get my main one banned. And I can tell you, I played a mission that was in D1 and I could not be bothered by it. I was like, yay. So I get it. He's right. There's, you look backwards and you have the nostalgia berries, but when you actually like play the things, you're like, yeah, this is not as good as I thought it was going to be.
Never going to feel that good again. You're never going to be able
to. It really isn't. He's right.
Again. And I don't want to sound like a negative person. I'm just trying to be realistic. Bungie preys on that a little bit.
They do.
You that the
Dragon's Breath is a good one for the season.
We, the community, often listen to that, assume that they're telling us the truth, and get really upset when we play that new DLC and it doesn't feel as good.
I mean, Witch Queen was a good example of it working.
Thing that I believe Bungie is sort of doing incorrectly.
No. Let's not try to. I don't like that where he says we DLC as if like the what he's trying to say is the reason why Lightfall wasn't as good is not because of Bungie, it's because of us. Because we're nostalgia berries. We fell for their trap card, Yugi, and that's why it's bad. It's because we fell for it. I think that's BS. I think Witch Queen was fantastic. It met expectations. It was great. And then Bungie set us up with their expectations, and we had given them faith, goodwill faith, that, you know what? They showed us in Witch Queen that they can do it. Let's see them do it again. And they hyped us up. So I think it is. I hate this going back and blaming unintentionally, whether it's intentional or unintentionally, blaming the player, the community, the consumer, when it is the person who's selling the product that's misleading you. Yes, nostalgia played a part, and in this game, right? It does. But Witch Queen worked. And it was about Savathun, who has been, you know, talked about in the lore for so long. She was hyped up. And then we have this witness who is the embodiment of darkness. And we've been wanting to know what the darkness is. And yes, could that be preying on players, on their nostalgia for Destiny? But it's literally baked into the lore. So yes, we're wanting to see the witness. And so we're excited for Lightfall. It is Bungie's fault that it did not reach the expectations that we were set. I mean, this is literally the second to last expansion. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. No excuses. Bungie gets zero excuses. And they haven't got excuses. That's why their sales are bad. That's why the pre-orders are down. So no excuses. They don't deserve it.
Here in a moment. But first, I want to take a quick pit stop and sort of talk about the trajectory of Destiny and what I believe Destiny will look like for the next few years. This problem that we sort of feel at the moment as a community of either being frustrated with the game or there's a lack of a player base or whatever it might be leading up to final shape, it's only going to be worse.
Absolutely.
What I'm about to talk about is not factually sound, but as somebody whose career is very much based around Destiny, and as somebody who hopefully has demonstrated the ability to be very logical and reasonable about things, hopefully,
and as someone who's played almost 8,000 hours, whose job isn't Destiny, who's played other games like Warframe, which is a better free-to-play game, even though free-to-play is very quotational for Destiny, I'm going to give you my feedback with it too. So
you can trust that I have put a lot of thought into this, a lot of analysis into this, and have really looked deep into everything that Bungie's given us. So hopefully this opinion comes with a little bit more weight than maybe somebody else. But if not, that's okay, disregard. I'm almost sure that we are about to get our last ever big DLC.
I would agree with that.
Ever big raid. And
absolutely,
although they are kind of teasing about this idea of episodes kind of continuing forever and people just coming back every 4 months to check out the new stuff in Destiny, this feeling that we have leading up to the final shape of, oh my goodness, we need this so desperately as a community, I think this is the last time we ever get it.
Absolutely, I would agree.
Which does mark 10 years that Destiny's been out, and they did promise us 10 years originally. I believe this is the last year that we will ever really have Destiny as we know it.
And I know there's people out there that will disagree and say, well, no, because they need the money. And you're right, they do need the money, but they're also getting their money from cash pay pigs, buying everything. Why do you think they've been increasing more like collab sets? Because people are dumb enough to buy it. Like, they've got their pay pigs to pay their way. Like, and people are going to be stupid enough to continue to pay it. Even if they don't do expansions, people are going to be still stupid enough to buy all of it up and expect, why is my game bad? Why is game bad? Well, I don't know. Why are you giving them money for the game being bad? Come on, use your head. Why do they care when they have your money, bro? Dudette, come on. And you know, I'm just gonna let it continue.
And Bungie's not really being honest about that.
No, they're not.
Dance around the idea, and they make it sound like Destiny's gonna go forever, or not forever necessarily, but that they're continuing year after year after year after 2024 to build on Destiny. And while they may be planning to do that, it's not gonna be the same Destiny that we have known and expected for the last 10 years.
And here's the deal, okay? There's no reason why they would tell us that the plan is to end it eventually, because the moment you tell people, they are going to preemptively leave. Like, why would someone, like, if you're not really invested in Destiny, which there's a lot of casuals in Destiny, if you tell them after this expansion the game is essentially over, no one's going to invest the time to play the game. Like, why? This is, they, in their mind, even though it's not actually what's going on, it may still be running. To their mind is, this is a dead game. This is a dead game. Why should I invest my time and effort into this game when they've essentially said it's a dead game? Even though that's not what they're saying, gamers are like that. They connect the dots. This is a dead game. So no, of course not. Of course they wouldn't tell you that they have no plans to do this or that. Of course they're going to continue to insinuate that Destiny's going to continue on, because the moment they don't, people are going to just preemptively leave. I mean, it's business 101.
Big annual DLC is necessary for how many of us play and envision Destiny. Without subclasses coming out, without big new raids, without all this excitement,
I mean, the shiny toys, yeah.
Be many people returning for these episodes. Maybe episode 1, maybe episode 2. But realistically, by mid-2025, I can almost guarantee you that the Destiny player base is going to be a minuscule percentage compared to what it is now.
It will be even more if they actually admit that it will be the last. I'm telling you now, it will be dramatically decreased if they openly say this is the last expansion, because people are going to preemptively dip. In fact, my goal is, if Final Shape and these episodes don't dramatically change things, the third one's going to be my last hurrah, if I even play it.
And again, this is not me trying to be negative. It's just me trying to read through the lines of everything they've given us and everything they told us, and Marathon coming out and all that other stuff going on.
They really want Marathon to pop off.
And budget cuts and all of this stuff. Reading between the lines of all of it, this is the last big DLC. This is the last raid. I really wish that they would be honest with us about that and set our expectations correctly. Otherwise, a year from now, in early 2025, the anger and frustration from the Destiny community is going to be 10 times worse than it is right now.
Why would they care? If by then, theoretically, Marathon will be out, they'll have their new baby out, their new game up and running. If the goal is for Marathon to take over, why would they care? They have your money already. Why do they care? Have they shown that they've really cared? I mean, you're talking about the same company at the beginning of the season, after the blowout of all the information and the fact that people are complaining about Bungie, and they release a $15 starter pack for new players, where they sell actual guns to new players. Come on now. You think they really, really care? Sure, there may be developers that do care, but the leaders, do they care? Abso-freaking-lutely not.
I would love to have the Final Shape be this wonderful conclusion for what has been a 10-year incredible journey.
He's a nostalgia berry, isn't he? Bring him back.
And all the people along the way who joined to come together one final time and celebrate the end of an incredible 10-year journey. But I'm fearful that's not what's going to happen, because they're sort of playing on our emotions by selling this idea that episodes will continue the Destiny experience for years to come. Again, it's not factual, but I can pretty much guarantee this is it, friends. As far as I guarantee,
I agree.
This is the last year it's gonna be the way that we love it to be. And honestly, I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong.
It'd be nice.
Sure I'm not. Maybe one day in the future, Bungie will make a Destiny 3 or sell the rights to it for another company to make something similar with Halo. Because
yes, and I think that's also another reason why I think they're done after this, is because it's the Halo effect. Bungie got tired of working on Halo. They very clearly said that. They even said the reason why the good part of the Bungie team that worked on Destiny, like some of the best known names that I don't remember because they've moved on since then, is Christopher Barrett. I think he's one of them, is working on Marathon, is because they got tired of Destiny. And I think it's happening again. The other people who have been grinding out Destiny, working on it, are also tired of it. I think Bungie overall is tired of Destiny. I think it's the Halo effect. They want to move on, and I think Marathon is the new baby that they all want to move on to. Obviously, they can't cut ties immediately with Destiny because it's still their cash cow. But once that cash cow has been used up and they've got this new hotness, that's where they're gonna put attention to. That's at least my opinion, and it's very, very, very apparent that they don't care nearly as much anymore about Destiny as they used to in the past. I mean, for God's sakes, look at Warframe. Every freaking month they do a live stream with their community showcasing cosplay, all this other stuff, and we get like a TWAB, a very just like typed up TWAB that one person works on. We don't even see developers, we don't see the leaders. Like, when's the last time Pete Parson or Joe Blackburn got on a couch, talked about Destiny monthly? Yeah, exactly. It wasn't until like Destiny 1 where they were sitting on a couch showcasing Age of Triumph armor with a real controller, with real players in game, instead of like a cinematic cutscene. That's the Bungie we used to like, the Bungie we used to have, and now we have this corporate trash bag.
this is a definite wonderful community of people that at this point may be
that's
fragmented in all.
Let's be honest. There's also the vocal minority is also toxic AF, and I would throw them into a burning fire as soon as I could.
In all kinds of different places, but they have an opportunity to create a game years down the road that all of us will come back to. One day they probably will make a Destiny 3, but I don't see that day coming for a long time.
We'd be lucky.
I've been recording for 4.5 minutes before I get on to the biggest problem I have with Bungie. Man, I'm doing this all with no script, by the way. No preparation.
Hey, same. I haven't even seen your video.
I recorded a video talking about this stuff. This is all pretty much one take. Anyway, to conclude,
cool.
I think
I do that too.
We'll move to the next segment about
yeah, I'm interested.
I got with Bungie. All right, well,
I'm interested.
Get a little personal and the whole story related to Bungie. My biggest personal issue with Bungie and where we are currently as a fragmented community is their inability to tackle the cheater and harassment problem in
I should have seen that coming a mile away.
Thinking, oh my god, here he goes again, or like they have an anti-cheat, what's wrong with it? But here's the problem.
You know what's wrong with it? You can open up a program that has nothing to do with it and get banned. There's your problem.
The anti-cheat may catch a few people here and there, but so many people cheating, whether that's hardcore aim hacking, wall hacking, whether that's Cronus's or Zims giving bonus aim assists and all kinds of crazy stuff they do that I don't even fully understand. People are getting through, and a lot of people are getting
yeah, but again, all the good stuff is going to Marathon.
Through. And while maybe you don't experience,
I'm gonna hear him out, but I'm probably gonna skip most of this.
Streams it and gets harassed by these people, specifically sniping me, targeting me, watching my stream to match against me, cheat against
personal.
me, ruin my carry. While you may not experience it as badly as I
do, a lot of business stuff.
Anybody who's playing PvP, even on console where Zims and Cronus's exist, they're dealing with cheaters on a much more frequent base than they should have to. And the reason I'm so frustrated with Bungie here, I understand that many video games are dealing with cheaters, and that it's not a Bungie problem.
It is absolutely not. Play Tarkov. You will see cheaters.
I'm going to raise my hand and say I'm one of them who does everything they can to take down the names of people who are cheating, of people who are harassing, and provide as much evidence as possible as to all of the terms of service that they are breaking, and then hand deliver them to people who specifically work at Bungie for these things. Yeah.
And I think it's a slippery slope. I think Bungie should go the route of CSGO, where it's completely anonymous and it's unbiased, where people can go. And I don't know about CSGO 2, but I know CSGO 1, there were people who would actually watch clips and they would watch a game mode and see the person, see if someone was cheating. And then they would sit yes and submit it. That way it's completely anonymous, it's unbiased, and someone else, a third party, reviews it and they can determine, wow, that really does look sus. But obviously Bungie would never do that. The other reason I personally wouldn't take direct feedback is because if they're wrong and they falsely ban someone, which they do that anyways, let's be honest, but at least they can blame the system, right? They can blame the system for falsely banning people and then write it away. But if they ban someone based on someone else, they don't have an excuse. What are they going to say? Well, the information we got from so-and-so. Now, obviously, if you have a blatant cheater flying around the map having infinite ammo, 100%, I don't know why they don't ban them, but it's Bungie.
Yet, month after month I've had, people are fed up, they're tired, and one of the biggest reasons that the Destiny community is as depleted as it is, especially in the PvP world, is because of Bungie's lack of ability to actually take action on these people that are
or feedback. Let's be honest. He's talking about from a PvP side of things. He's completely right, but also on a PvE side of things, taking feedback and actually applying it.
So easy to discover. Not only are streamers a problem, things like that wouldn't be hard to do, but no one's doing it. True, but for all the people on Twitter who love to just believe the pitchfork garbage, most likely for every 95 to 96 people that I am sure is cheating and say is cheating and is indeed cheating, there's maybe 3 or 4 who I get incorrect, and I will admit that's not good.
And that's why they don't do that, because if you're wrong, they're the ones that get the blame. Listen. If it's blatant, I don't see why they don't do it. I'm not speaking for them. I'm not defending them. In fact, I'm criticizing them because I just think they should do the CSGO route, and it would solve a lot of problems. Having someone who can manually review clips and then anonymously and unbiasedly, ban or unban or whatever. Not unban, but they can ding saying, yeah, this is a suspect. He's suspicious. He's a sussy baka. Whatever.
I should probably dying loyalty to their game. It drives me plus years spending money on their studio year after year.
The nice new building they got.
Dying loyalty to their game. It drives me crazy that Bungie wouldn't just do us the tiny bit of service of having one person manually going through and
because they gotta pay for the clubs, yo. They gotta have knitting.
Their biggest problem I have with them. I want to make this clear too. Bungie is a giant company. I don't know if it's 1,000 people, 1,400 people. I'm not sure, but it's a big company. I don't have issues with everyone at Bungie, and I probably get misinterpreted too often by just using the term Bungie too freely. I'm probably talking about 1% of the people at Bungie when I say things like this. All of the devs who worked their ass off, DLC after DLC, update after update, I respect them so freaking much. Those devs work hard, and they create an incredible game. I am a huge fan of the vast majority of Bungie, but whoever's in charge of security, I don't know who's in charge of it, but whoever...
I can answer you. No one. They fired the security team. So let's move on to the closing thoughts.
Unscripted ranting. I hope it made sense and was good. Do not miss Final Shape. It's coming out June 4th. Here I am basically...
No, I'm going to be honest. If you don't like the way Destiny is, I'm going to do you better. Miss it. Skip it. Watch it. And then choose from there after observing the train wreck. If it is a train wreck, at least you won't be an active participant in it. And you could say, I saved $60. There you go. But outside of that, I think he was mostly correct about this. I think there's a lot of misleading statements made, giving Bungie too much leeway and credit when the community, yes, is jaded, but a lot of that jadedness is not just because of we're tired of the same-o. Again, going back to his analogy of the restaurant, when you expect the same thing, or maybe you ask for some extra toppings or some variety, instead you get not even the basics, but you get reused noodles and chicken for your meal, you're not gonna be happy. So that's my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Check out the link. I will link the video for yourselves. And as always, don't forget to be the best version of yourself and game out. Huzzah.